Good morning, everyone. It's Melissa with Build a Better Bakery here with you today for our hashtag Thursday Fave session. Double check we are live so I can see your comments. All right, perfect. Nice and easy today. We are logged in. I can see any comments that's coming in from anyone. If you are viewing on replay, go ahead and throw up your hashtag replay. Today's session is all about awakening your professional baking business identity. So the reason we're talking about this today is because the month of May here at Build a Better Bakery is all about the savvy startup. So we're talking a little bit about starting up businesses, the concepts behind it, the actual nitty-gritty to doing it at our Thursday Fave sessions, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time right here in the group. You'll see those listed up in the featured section. If you're inside of our baking business Facebook group, you can click on those past replays if you want to watch. And I know that some of you have started baking here and there. So maybe, maybe you've sold a couple things, maybe you're getting some market research under your belt, but you still feel like you're in that startup stage. So if you have dipped your toes into any kind of baking business, you likely already know that it is not easy. This isn't really one of those, get rich quick scheme businesses. It's actually hard work, time, patience, physical labor. That's kind of what baking is at its essence. And if you've never run a business before of any kind, getting into that mindset from kind of doing hobby stuff to actually being professional business minded can also be a struggle on top of the physical aspect and the emotional aspect of baking. And I will say that, having difficulty setting boundaries, really common. Knowing when and where your problems are going to arise, really common if you've never done this before. Understand the numbers behind baking, the money that goes into it, all very common. We're going to touch on all these today. I will say that something that shocked me a few years ago, or actually when I started, was that I didn't really realize how emotional baking business was going to be, even just grappling with my own emotions as I was building into a professional business owner, but also dealing with the additional customer emotions that come with ordering custom orders for big events and just the emotional aspect of baking. I didn't know that was how it was going to be when I first started. So that is something I also tend to help people with because it can be kind of overwhelming. Okay. I have seen many bakers making this business thing just harder than it needs to be. So that's kind of why we're going to touch on these three aspects that I feel like you need to grab onto your professional identity now so that you can avoid high levels of stress later. I see people not looking at these and then they're just really stressed out a couple years in. We can fix that today. So that's what we're going to talk about. I will say that these aspects center around harnessing and awakening that business essence. So if you don't feel like a business-minded person right now, that's why we're going to talk about these things. I'm going to give you some mantras, some kind of insider info of over the last 16 years, how have I kind of developed my personal identity? And then you can take from that what works for you so that we can set healthy boundaries, make a living baking, and just, get into that professional mindset. Okay, and then at the end, because I know that when you all are watching these, the day that I make them, I want to make it a more special experience for you. So either on the hashtag replay within 24 hours, or right here with your hashtag live, if you're here with me live, you're going to get access to a 24-hour sale. So I've got resources that help you with this. I'm going to do half off sale for some of those so that you can get kind of a bonus for watching the content the day it's put out. All right, if you need to stay in the know about these lives, you can check the events in the Facebook group, send me a friend request to Melissa Fryer on the Facebook platform. I'll accept the request and then you can start getting automatic invites to the events. It's just the system that pushes it out. Or you can hang out on our email list where I do send out replay links, but you will miss sales and events and things like that. It's a couple days later. So if you just want the replays, that's a good way to get it. We're also on YouTube posting a lot of these videos as well after they are live here in the group. Okay, we're going to jump right in. 3 areas which will help you awaken that professional identity inside of yourself. It's already there. We just need to nurture it. And do know that you have 100% authority from me to take each of these suggestions and just run with it. Like if this is what you needed to hear today to make some changes and move into that professional identity, then go with it. This is your day. All right. I will say within the first 2 years of my business, I was stomped on and run over by my own personal choices and allowances. I'm going to be honest about that, and various clients. So it was kind of coming from two fronts. The clients were mistreating me. I was accepting it. I wasn't really looking outside of that group of clients. And I was kind of doing it to myself, unfortunately. I did feel like any sale was a good sale, kind of like I just need sales. I want to validate that I can do this. But I found out pretty quickly that all sales are not created equal. Some of them can be pretty painful to move through if you have clients that are just not on the same level as you are. And it doesn't need to happen to you. If you want to skip over that, you don't need to have that as part of your story. That's kind of what I'm here. I don't feel like you need to be mistreated in the first couple of years of your business to like understand that that's what happens. So we're going to fix it today. And we're going to set up your game plan. All right, we're going to hop right in. Hey, Tiana. Hey, Jeanette. Live. Cool. Glad to see you guys here. If you have questions about these, let me know. All right. So the first one that we're going to talk about today is professionalizing your time. Pretty straightforward, right? We have time in our day, 24 hours, maybe less, like I got to get my 8 or 9 hours of sleep. That's just how I go. That's just how I do it. So for me, I really do have, and I've got a family and other things that I have going on. So I do have a limited amount of time that I'm willing to give to my business. It is not a requirement, even if you feel like it, it is not a requirement that you must sacrifice your free time for your business. You don't have to do that, right? You're choosing to do that. You don't have to. You can and should protect your time at all costs, really more than anything else, because no matter how much money you make in your life, you cannot buy more time. Really, like you can get healthcare and you can keep yourself healthy and all that. But when it comes down to actually what is time, you cannot buy more. And we only have what we have. So making sure that you're not building up regret and resentment because you are choosing to self-impose, sacrificing your time for your business, just try to keep an eye on if you're doing that and how, and maybe back away from that so that you can start to fill your bucket back up with time that makes you feel fulfilled. Every minute you spend working for someone else, taking those even a few minutes out of your day, I feel they should be compensating you. That should be part of the package that they're purchasing because you're a professional and that's how professionals do things. You do not owe anyone anything above and beyond your professional agreements. So I see this really often in bakers. They tend to want to just keep going and pushing and giving and free stuff and more time and extra things. And if it's not working for you, then there's a problem. If you're feeling resentful, if you're feeling overwhelmed, there's a problem because you don't have to work for free. You're a professional. We need to professionalize how your time is viewed by yourself and your clients. And you know how painful it is if you are currently viewing your time unprofessionally. You can feel that, right? Like there's something you're thinking, this isn't worth it. I don't want to do this anymore. It's usually because you're not seeing a return on your investment of time. So to adopt and enforce healthy boundaries, I really do believe that you'll gain more freedom and self-worth along that path. So if that's kind of the reason why you're doing it, kind of like fake it till you make it, right? Start making choices that professionalize your time and then see how you feel as those choices are working day to day. And you will also notice that clients will see and respect that professionalism along with you because you're kind of in charge, right? You're the business owner. So they sort of fall into suit based on how you're telling them to treat your time. Here are some tips to help you professionalize your time. One, I know this is hard for some bakers because of the way our industry works, but one, set standard open and close times. So if you don't have a storefront where you can literally flip a sign that says open and close, try to tell yourself, hey, I don't start work until 9, I'm off by 5. That's how it works, right? 9 to 5. You're setting your own schedule and you're telling yourself these other time periods are for something else. That might help you kind of strip down those over excessive periods where you're doing things outside of your current open and close times. And stick to them if you can. This includes message responses, social media posting, you try to fit it into your day of work. Don't make it, you're going to need a break. So don't make your whole day about baking and not anything else. Number 2, set a regularly occurring off schedule. I love this one because I think it's just so fulfilling for me. And it isn't hard to do. You just have to trust yourself and you have to stick to it. So that's like choosing just one weekend a month. You know, if you work on the weekends, if you do markets or orders, just pick one weekend, block it off, like black out those section of days. So you can't write anything there. You can't take orders. That's for you, right? Or maybe a whole week in a month. Maybe you have to work all your weekends, but you can take a whole week off sometime. And if you have a storefront, hire someone to help, whatever, like make it work, try to figure out a way to make that work. It's kind of like paying yourself with time. We know that's the most valuable thing. So figure out a way to pay yourself with some time, or I promise the burnout is just it's gonna hit you harder. So we gotta give that, we gotta live our life outside of baking. And you wanna plan them early. Make sure no one can take that time from you. Don't overschedule it. Don't try to take orders over that time. Just say, I'm unavailable. And go on and live your life, your beautiful life outside of work. And let that be what feeds you as you're working hard in your business. You can also, number 3, provide a highly thorough and clear contract. This is important because what it's doing is it's setting the boundaries for you and your clients. And it's an easy readable form that you don't have to repeat over and over again. So just having it there for them to see is going to help everyone avoid painful mistakes of not understanding what their job is in that business agreement. And it doesn't have to be super, sit in front of a lawyer and everyone signs it. Just having this information available to them for them to read before they place the order, and even after they place the order, everyone will just have a better, a clear view of how everything is going to play out and how time is allocated for each party, for the business owner and for the client. It'll just set the stage. So that's what we're looking for, to relieve some stress there. And like I mentioned, to help you out today for being here or seeing this video within the first 24 hours, I'm setting up a half off code for this contract. It's a 16-year tested contract. It's what I use. It covers everything from $1 sale to $1,000+ sale. It's very comprehensive for anything from personal orders to markets to weddings or whatever you're working on. There's verbiage in there that you can move around. And if you need the information for that, you can comment contract here. I can send you the code for it, or you can write it down. It's an immediately downloadable template. So you just click it, download it, and then you can mess with the wording or change some information in it to help fit your needs. I also accept email support. So if you have questions, just email me directly. My email's on that form, and we can talk about either something to add or take out, or your questions about what you're trying to do and how to say it. I know that's one of the hardest parts. So we can work on that together. The code is just contract sale. That's all it is. And you can put it in on the website. It makes it less than 25 bucks. I think it's like $23 or something like that. And it's easily downloadable. So you can have it today and start with it today. All right, let's move on to number 2. We need to professionalize your emotions when it comes to business. So we're professionalizing the time. Now we're going to professionalize emotions when it comes to your business. I'm not a therapist, right? Like I can't help you with all of everything that you might need to go to therapy for. I need to go to therapy. I think we all do for something. But I want to give you some ways to think about, because it is such an emotional business, how to kind of construct your thoughts about what might be coming up for you. I want you to grasp onto the fact that you are not meant to be perfect as a business owner. Nobody is. No one expects you to be perfect. But you are really meant to be able to listen and grow. That's kind of it. So showing up as your best self, doing your business, we all grow, we all change. That's totally normal. You do not have to be perfect. If you want to look more into this, it's not the topic of today's session, but definitely write down growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Read up on that, get a book. If you're really a fixed mindset person, business is going to be hard for you. So we need to get you into a growth mindset area so that you can work into feeling really good about being an entrepreneur and the process that it incurs as you're moving forward. You will absolutely change as you move through your business. That's normal. That's necessary, honestly. So you can shift and mold and experience what you need to work on or get interested in as you move through your journey. So allow yourself to be flexible. That's okay. Not perfect, flexible. Let that be part of your understanding of how this is going to work. And in my opinion, as a mentor, you better be making mistakes, i.e. learning lessons. Okay, mistakes are not bad, they're lessons. So what can we get from them? If you're not making any of these, if you're not learning anything, then you're probably not trying anything new. And if you're not trying anything new, you're probably not innovating. And if you're not innovating, it's going to be harder to grow, right? We want to keep it fresh and fun so you feel excited about showing up for your business every day. Hey, Allie, good to see you. Hey, Cindy. Okay, so do what you can, and this might be hard, but I want you to just sit with this and figure out how can I make this work for me. Do what you can to separate your business emotions from your personal emotions, okay? Because at the end of the day, your business isn't personal. It's not you, right? It's what you're doing for your business. It's like a job. It's a completely different thing. So clients may be friendly with you, and I hope they are. I hope you have client, service relationships with people, because that's going to keep it fun and interesting. But it's not the same as an actual friendship, right? There's a different boundary between what you say to each other, how you interact, what you share, how much you do, etc. And I think that they understand, as you should too, right? You are a service provider for them. That's the relationship. And being friendly is a great asset, but it's still business. So here's an example. You bake some cinnamon rolls. Cool. You've sold them. Someone says, I don't like this cinnamon roll. Okay, that's not a problem, right? Because they're not saying they don't like you as a person. They're just saying, hey, this product didn't hit the spot. Okay, that's actually really good information for you to have. And the fact that they were willing to tell you that in a kind, constructive opinion means that they probably do want you to succeed and they care about it being better. So they want to tell you so that you can look into it, and using their information can help you work as a provider-client team to maybe come up with, hey, maybe I should bake it a little longer, or maybe I should add more butter, or what didn't you like about it, and then go off on your own and start working with the recipe. See if you agree or disagree. Everyone has different tastes, but it's actually a really good opportunity for very useful feedback to help you direct your journey and your growth in the areas in which some people might feel is needed, or they would like it to be XYZ, right? Again, you don't have to do everything everyone says, but if you were thinking, hey, I'll look into that, and then, hey, maybe you come up with a better improved cinnamon roll recipe that's even more amazing. That's great. They helped you do that. So it might feel scary to hear those kinds of things, but if they're doing it, hopefully in a kind, constructive way, you can work together to get to an even better place. All right, and then for your emotions, because burnout is so prevalent with baking, I know it has to do with other things going on in people's lives too. I get that. But what I see a lot is bakers putting in an amount of effort above and beyond their agreements. Okay, so it's kind of like someone agreed to pay them XYZ for a thing, but then they do all this stuff. They add all these extra things. They do free deliveries. Which I do sometimes. Okay, I get it. But pushing the limits on what they're paying for and just slathering their time and energy on top of it, maybe because they're scared they're not going to like the product or whatever it is. But I want you to know that's usually the root cause for burnout. So going above and beyond when it's not really called for, in the agreement that you've already made with somebody. Coupled with topics 1 and 3 that we're talking about today, these all kind of work into the burnout thing. So I want you to think about, what would you expect from another business owner? If you ordered a plate of chicken wings from a restaurant, would you expect them to come out with a salad and a drink all on the house, and then someone's there like picking the meat off for you? And no, right? Like, you just expected the plate of wings because that's what you paid for and you agreed to it. Maybe they threw a couple celery sticks in, that's cool, but you're not expecting this huge amount of energy and time to be placed on top of what you've gotten. So just think about, what would you expect from another business owner? And, a lot of times this is going to bring down your efficiency, your income, because you're putting way too much on top of what you offered. So you're going to, if you can, in your head, treat yourself as you would treat another business owner and your expectations. when it comes to the emotions around how you run your business and what you feel is realistically expected when it comes to those transactions. Okay. All right. To work on professionalizing your emotions, consider these mantras. These are kind of things that just float around in my head pretty consistently. My business and my products are not me personally. They are products that I'm making at the time. Those things can change, right? It's not me, it's what I'm doing at this moment. These are business transactions that I'm having with people. They're not always going to be perfect. That's okay. That's not the expectation. And I can always improve when it's needed, and I can change directions when I feel like I need to. So you have a lot of flexibility in this and a lot of movement. We are doing the best that we can with what we have. I really, truly think that's pretty much what's going on. Everyone is trying the best they can with what they have, and nobody knows it all, and everyone's on a different space in their journey, right? It's easy to expect that you should be where someone else is, but you don't know their story. They could have all kinds of stuff going on. All right, so everyone's in a different place. Nobody knows everything. And when I want to change something about my business, I'm going to take control. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a new tool. I'm going to grab a new resource. I'm going to do some digging. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to soak that in, and I'm going to begin using it in my own way. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. You're going to make it work for you, but and sometimes the advice isn't what you need. Sometimes the tool isn't exactly how you want to do it, but you get some ideas, right? Got to get in there and get curious. And then lastly, I will seek validation within myself first. Is this what I really want for me? Is this what I really want to do outside of baking or my profession? I'm going to do my best to understand that I'm enough, and I've always been enough. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this to create an income, to help my family, to have fun, whatever it is. But I'm always enough, even if I'm not baking, right? And it's like, I'm almost crying thinking about that. It's a hard one, but know that, even after you hit 6 figures of annual income, okay, because I've been there, it doesn't change the way you feel. It's not really the success and the money. It's more of like what's going on in your head and why you're doing what you're doing. And so hopefully you can get around that, so you can have and accept and be able to present those professional emotions when it comes to business things, right? Removing the validation from the actual work and bringing it more internal. Okay, so again, the end of that mantra, I will do what I must to protect my time and emotions to continue to bake in a healthy way and a sustainable way. And I will point out, like I said, I'm not a therapist. I've talked to a lot of bakers over the years. I've worked in a lot of bakeries. Talking through emotions when it comes to business, but baking business specifically, can be kind of difficult because some people just don't get how exhausting it is. How emotional it really can be. So if you can discuss with a mentor in the same industry as you, or someone who kind of understands what's going on, to give certain advice or just listen, I do suggest that. So you can snag your 20-minute session with me. Each person gets a free mentorship session of 20 minutes. If you want it, it's on the website. I can send you the link. I really think it's a good thing to do, especially if you've never been with a mentor before, just to talk a little bit, kind of see how it feels. You can always work with someone with you locally as well, like SBA or someone who's around to talk about that. That works too. I think having a listening ear is just really important. Someone who understands and isn't going to kind of talk over you. We also have full one-on-one sessions available if you want to dig in and get some real solid clarity with me. We have those too. They are a paid option, but they are available. So if that's what you need, I'm here for that. I think we all deserve some companionship. And it just so happens that in the stage of my own career, I feel able and willing to assist as the listening ear and the source of perspective now, because there've just been so many experiences that I can pull from to help. So let me know if you need that. Okay, don't see any questions. I'm going to move on to number 3. We professionalized our time. We professionalized our emotions. And lastly, we're going to professionalize our income, meaning we're going to take this seriously. It's no longer a game. It's not a hobby. We're going to professionalize our income to make sure we understand every minute of our day we're spending working, we should have a dependable, understandable return on the end. It shouldn't be a surprise. Okay, that's not what we want. We want to know what's happening every time we agree to something. We want to know how much money we're walking home with. In my opinion, and again, I've been doing this a long time, 16 years. I've been paid by other business owners. I've been paid by clients. I understand that the services that are being rendered are professional and desired. At this stage, for me, I'm not interested in donating my time or my resources to bake. I just don't feel like I need that. Maybe as a younger person or starting out, maybe. But at this point, I've just professionalized my income so deeply that I just don't do that anymore. I spend my free time elsewhere. I just bake so much for work that I spend my free time mostly doing other things, right? Because I'm really treating it like a professional job on the daily. That's, if that's where you want to be, it does take practice. I still thankfully really love to bake, and I bake for myself and I bake for my family, and it's fingers crossed. Like, I can't believe that I get paid for something that I love to do this much. So it's a really great thing. It's not that I don't love it anymore. It's just, I can see that I'm working for someone else, and it isn't my job to give that time for free, right? It's my job to be a professional and to be compensated for the service. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. My motto, if you want to think about, what it is you're doing with your day, either a client can choose to pay me fairly, make it worth my time, make it worth my family's time away from me, or I'm just going to keep watching my show on the couch. Okay. Like, I don't feel I need to hop to unless it works for me. It just doesn't, it's my job. So if it works for me, I'll do it. If it doesn't, we're good. Because I know that I will work myself sick, literally, because I have years and years worked so super hard for the gratification of making something pretty for someone else. But at the end of the day, that doesn't last. That feeling doesn't continue to feel good, maybe for a few minutes when you're taking photos or when they say they love it. There's a little bit sprinkled in there, but for me, it's not long lasting enough to continue to do that. And I know some of you are thinking, okay, I want to professionalize my income, but quote, they won't pay me more. I know that that's happening because I hear people say it. If that's happening in the back of your head, I want you to ask yourself these things before you continue to believe that, okay? 1, have you actually tried charging more? Have you literally charged, 20, 30% more than you're charging now? And you have the evidence to say, see, Melissa, I tried charging 30% more for 6 months and nobody bought anything. Do you have data to prove that's true, or do you just think that because whatever, right? Do you actually know? My guess is probably not. So have you tried up leveling your offers and charging more, right? Have you tried changing some things to make things more attractive and then charging more, right? There's lots of things to try before we know the actual ceiling of what you can and can't charge for certain services. Does anyone know the example? There's I think there's something weird related to it, but there's a golden paperclip on some fancy jewelry website for $2,000 or something like that. Seriously, when it comes to art and expression, you can move within that. Don't feel stuck. I don't want you to keep yourself in the back of the pack for no reason. Don't keep tripping yourself. Don't keep don't keep stepping in the mud when you don't have to. Let's try some things and actually see before telling ourselves that we can't. Just get out there and give it a real shot. Nobody cares. No one's going to remember. Just try it. If it doesn't work, okay. And if it does, great. Then you've got it. Okay. And I want to be really clear with this one because I think in a couple of my past videos, I was a little flex with this just because I didn't want to turn anyone off from charging for their time. I want to ease people in. And I know this is Savvy Startup, but I'm just going to spell this out because it's just true. Okay. Profitable pricing is necessity. You can't not do this. If you don't do it and you're trying to make an income, you will not make an income, right? There's no way to magically make money. You have to have the profitable pricing that takes into account all your data and all your numbers. It can't just be materials times 3. It can't just be some random number that you saw at the other bakery. Those aren't real numbers. Those aren't data-derived formulas that you've thought, okay, this is going to cover all my expenses, my rent, my overhead, my materials. we have to count all this stuff up, and then you come up with a price. That's how we get to it, right? It's like actually math. So if you don't have this, there's going to be a problem. Knowing your numbers is part of your professional job. No one else is going to do this for you. It has to be done by you. You have to use your numbers. You have to do it. And you are doing yourself a disservice of your time and energy and emotions if you are not in control of your income as a self-employed person, because no one else is going to do it. So it is just part of your job. It might feel scary or overwhelming to learn the skill. Some people don't want to know how much it costs to run their business. It freaks them out. Some people don't want to ask for money for their, hours worked. It freaks them out. I get it. There are some internal thought processes that could be kind of scary. And it is something you're going to have to focus on for a few days to get it straight. That it's like a project, right? You have to do the project. It's a skill, just like making croissants or learning how to stack a cake. There's a little bit of learning that's going to go into it. You need a guide and some practice, and then you'll be there. If you don't know anything about it, we at least need to pique your interest on what it means to have profitable pricing. If you have pricing, but it's not exact, like it's materials times 3, or it's a random number that you found on the internet, that's going to be really hard for you to truly make an income, because it's always going to be a surprise what you're going to end up with at the end, because you're not using your actual numbers. So you have a number to use, but it's not your number. If that makes sense. It's like some number from somewhere else. Materials times 3 is just not exact. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why people do that. Okay. So again, no one else is going to do it for you, but I can help you along the way. You can post in the group if you just have very simple questions. That'll work there. You are going to get, group input. We can set up one of those strategy sessions and talk about it there. And I will say that we all often start off undercharging. So if you are undercharging, that's super common. Like pretty much everyone I know does that. You aren't alone if that's your current state. Like it's over common, and it also causes our industry to it be less profitable overall. And for all of us to kind of get taken advantage of, because people are setting such a low bar, basically selling at cost or even less, which is insane to me. It's a hobby at that point. We don't want to be there, right? We want to help our industry pump up so we can all make more money. And for me, my first year filing taxes was a shock. Okay. Anyone done that yet? You filed your taxes and you're like, wow, that is not very much money. Like I worked all year and busted my butt, and that's sad. Okay. Just noticing how little I was actually taking home was a huge slap in the face. Like I really just felt like a pile for like a few days. I couldn't believe that I'd done that to myself. I guess I don't know. I think I took numbers from around my area and I was using those numbers, and it just wasn't making sense because I was using really high-end ingredients. I had some costs on the back end that maybe some other people didn't have, like website and extra things. And that just didn't work out. So huge shock. So at that point, I didn't have a course like I made for you guys. I didn't have a mentor. I just knew I can't keep doing this, but I love baking. So I need to figure this out. Made some changes and I never looked back. I change things every year depending on what's going on. You can too. You just got to get that base understanding of how to do it. It'll definitely get easier as you work every time if you need to change your pricing. I didn't lose any sales or clients. Weirdly, I gained more. There's a psychology to that. Okay. So it worked out. And I just knew if I wasn't making the money, it didn't make sense for me. I had a new baby, it had to make sense. But didn't lose the sales, didn't lose the clients. I went on to create a business that's brought in 6 figures of annual revenue. You can do this. It takes effort, but it can be done. And if you choose to professionalize, you can get there too. So it's a choice of which category do you want to be in. My basic rules, I don't spread myself thin. I just don't do that. It's not fair to me or the client. So there's ways that I work that out, but I don't spread myself thin because they don't get the care they deserve. I want them to have like top tier when they're with me, top tier experiences. I can't work with everyone and their brother if I'm doing that. So it's a smaller amount of orders or markets or whatever I'm doing. But I also only work with people who appreciate for me what I do, appreciate me for the things that I'm doing. And that's via pricing. Higher price, less clients, same or more income. It's basically the formula. So when they book me, I'm being compensated well, number one, and I show up 110% for those clients who are working with me. So everyone wins in those situations. No one's feeling a certain type of way about the interaction. Everyone's enjoying it. My advice, come into the market with profitable pricing from day one. If you're already in the market, let's get it ASAP, okay? The more time you spend in without it, the more you're losing. So we need to get you there. It'll train your clients to understand your services and respect your work. That's what we really need to get done. You can skip all the sadness, the exhaustion, the self-doubt, the overwhelm, and all that from low pricing and get to the good stuff right away. So even if you're new, I suggest learning about this so you can get into that. Let me read these real quick. One of our favorite shows here is Restaurant Impossible, combo food service and therapy. Oh my gosh, I'm not seeing that. I'll look into that, Janet. Oh yeah, Allie likes the course. That's great. Hi, Demetria. Yes. So Allie's saying she's never plugged in all of the numbers, like my exact time and stuff. So what she's doing is, I said, make it work for you, right? She looked at the course, she found the information that made sense to her. She did the back end work to get most of the information set in place so she can, it'll start to become visible where the money is coming in and out, what's happening with that. Because when you charge an X amount of dollars for something, it's not all going in your pocket. And for us, unfortunately, it's like 30 to 50% in materials costs of anything that you're selling, which is a lot. So we have to understand, we're not going home with those dollars. Yes. Yes, exactly. Okay. Let me get on and finish this for you. I've taken up a lot of your time today. Okay. So getting to the good stuff right away, profitable pricing right away. Again, like Allie, even if you don't want to have exactly the way I do it with the 5-part formula, just understanding the parts of the formula, knowing when and where things are happening with your money and your dollars, that's all power. That's all wisdom. You make it work for you, but I really truly think you just need to break it down, like what's actually happening. And then you can move in to make it work for yourself. Okay, so if you want me to walk you through that comprehensive pricing that I've been discussing, it's going to professionalize your income from the ground up. Again, it's going to show you the background of how this is all working together so you can figure out what's going to make sense for you as you move forward. You can grab yourself the unlimited seat, right? So once you get into this course, you can return to it as many times as you want. And it also includes supporting resources, charts, videos, all the good stuff to help walk you through how to emotionally, psychologically understand pricing, all the points to it, even extra little tidbits on the end that talk to you about revitalizing your pricing, moving, transitions, a little bit of tax info. I'm not a tax professional, but a little bit of that, just so from someone who's done it a bunch, some tips there to get you really well-rounded when it comes to your income. I'm going to do another half off for that as well today for that 24 hours. So from any time today until I think 8 or 9, maybe 10 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow, you can input the code pricing sale and you'll see that in the course section of the website. Just click on courses. You'll find the pricing for profit, which is the pricing course, and you'll input that to get half off. It also includes some time inside our group mentorship. So if you want a little one-on-one via the group with me or the other coaches and added support inside of there, that's there for you too. Okay, so to recap, we want to professionalize your time because it's the most valuable thing that you have. Number 2, we want to professionalize your emotions around your business because you deserve peace and joy as a baker. And number 3, we want to professionalize your income because we're here to thrive and we're here to be sustainable. That's my vision for you as a baker: thriving, sustainability, feeling good, having some time to ourselves and living our best lives while we're baking, right? We want to balance all of this. And you will be years ahead of your peers with these upgrades. If you don't have these and you're kind of new starting out, you're just going to blow everyone else out of the water if you can, because this is 16 years later. This is what I'm telling you to do. So I think they're going to be really important and feel good for you as you get into them and start understanding how they're going to benefit you. All right, so let me know if you want to take advantage of those half pricing for either the contract or the pricing course. You can DM me, you can comment contract here, you can comment pricing course here. I'll send the link to you, or you can find it on the website. It is at buildabetterbakerynow.com. You'll see everything under resources. So you can either click on essential paperwork and find the contract, or you can click on the courses and find the pricing for profit course. Okay, those are the two things I'm doing for you today. All righty, looks like we're good. I'm gonna head out. I'm working on some candy today and a painting gig that I accepted late notice. So I'm like kind of waiting to move here, kind of prepping for that. So I'm gonna work on those today, and I'll see you next week for our final Savvy Startup session for May. Then we'll move into June with a new topic. All right, glad to see you too, Sarah. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye.